Imagine knowing 3 habits that will help you become more resilient and transform your mental health in 30 days. Now that's what you're looking for. I suggest you stick around to the end of the video. Originally, I was going to call this video 5 habits that you can work on, or actually 10 habits, 10 mental health habits that you can work on in the next 30 days. But I felt 10 is a lot. So in my approach, when I work with people, in my sort of coaching practice, what I do is I like to focus on, bites, small bites. Let's take it one step at a time. In this video, the main focus is going to be on 3 habits. These habits are really going to help you transform your mental health. What you need is patience, and you need to work hard, and you need to learn how to break things down to easier steps and work slowly and gradually. It's like climbing up a ladder. You will get there. You need to start slowly and build up your comfort as well as your confidence. What are these 3 habits? Number 1, self-care. Number 2, getting active and back on track. Because sometimes you feel very overwhelmed with things, life, stress, feeling low, feeling anxious, and so many things. It's easy to put off the things that you want to do. So you feel like you're doing less because you start to feel lower and you start to feel very overwhelmed and exhausted. So it's reversing that and helping you to get back on track in the things that you enjoy and the things that you value the most. And then finally, we're going to look at the values, touching on why is it so important? Because they're the things that you enjoy, you value the most, and because they're the things that will bring back, hopefully, that drive and that motivation to get back to doing the things that you enjoy the most. Let's start it bit by bit. Number 1, self-care. What is self-care about? Let's put it this way. Self-care is like a pie chart. I want you to divide it into 3. Your sleep, your health, or let's say your health in general. Self-care and health kind of go in line. It is your sleep, your diet and nutrition, and your physical activity and exercise. All these 3 have an impact on your self-care. Are you taking care of yourself? Obviously, there's other things that we need to talk about when it comes to self-care. We could talk about stuff like personal hygiene. We could talk about sort of like the mental clarity and mental, decluttering mentally as well. We can also talk about the emotional side. But for now, let's just touch on these 3 areas. How are we doing with sleep? How are we doing with physical activity and exercise? How are we doing with diet and nutrition? Our sleep is not always perfect, but we can work on it, especially as now we're living in a time where sleep problems has become an epidemic. Even before COVID, by the way, sleep disorders and sleep problems were already an epidemic. A lot of people, due to the environment that we live in today, the working hours, the demands, the life demands, work demands, the social demands, there's so many things going on. People can't help it but to struggle to sleep. We're either undersleeping, where we're struggling to fall asleep, because we're thinking a lot, we're either pondering over the past, or we're thinking about the future. Or we're oversleeping, whereby we haven't got the sufficient amount of rest. And because of that, we require more sleep, or we've had disruptive sleep, hence why our sleep cycles are all over the place. Our internal clock can't keep up, and it can't seem to maintain an actual routine or a particular cycle. And when it comes to oversleeping, a lot of times people just don't want to get up. I'm not in the mood to get up. I don't feel like getting up. So it's something that we need to work on. One way is learning to track your sleep. If you have a smartwatch, whether it be an Apple Watch, a Samsung watch, or you have any other type of smartwatch, a lot of them have a sleep tracker. I do advise that you learn to track your sleep. See how much time and how much sleep you're getting from the time you go to bed to the time you wake up. And it even tells you how many times you keep getting up, if you are experiencing disrupted sleep. Also, find out how much sleep you need. The idea of 8 hours of sleep a day is not really for everyone. Some people may need 8 hours, some people may need 7, some people may need 6, some people 4 or 5 hours might be enough. It depends on your body and your system. So that's something for you to research on. But it's learning about sleep hygiene. Perhaps I could do a separate video on this, but sleep hygiene is about what are you doing before sleep? Learning about what are the ways to help you sleep. What we're talking about here is how much of screen time are we consuming? How much screen time do we have? When do we end screens? When is the cutoff? When is the curfew for screens? And when I'm talking about screens, I'm talking about our phones, I'm talking about TVs, talking about laptops, whatever screen it is, because eventually it's going to affect our eyes. Many moons ago, a lot of people used to watch so much TV that's affecting their eyes. And nowadays, it's all about tablets and mobile phones. We're just glued and stuck to it. And the blue light is having an impact on our attention, not only our attention, but our ability to fall asleep. So that's something we need to work on, is kind of cutting down and really having a good curfew as to when we can switch off and put these screens away as much as we can. So this is something we all need to work on. And also, how much of caffeine are we having? When is the last time we have caffeine before sleeping? What are we doing before sleeping? Are we stimulating ourselves a lot? How do we then learn to have a routine, a bedtime routine, to unwind and enter into the mode of sleep in order to help our sleep? The second thing, so that's sleep. Let's move on to physical activity and exercise. We live at a time where sedentary lifestyles are all over the place and it's widespread. One reason is because of remote working. Now, this is not to blame remote working. I'm actually personally, I prefer remote working, although I prefer hybrid. That's just my personal and professional opinion. But one of the downsides of remote working is we're on our laptops all day. We're working on projects, whether it's remote working or we're doing remote projects, or a lot of it is we're just sitting on our chairs in front of our laptops, in front of the desktops or what have you, in front of computers, and we're not moving as much. And this is why it's important that when we do first of all, taking breaks, and in those breaks, trying to incorporate not only rest, but a bit of exercise and physical activity, whether it's just walking down the neighborhood around you or going to the shops and back. If you have the ability and you have the budget, do have, some type of an exercise tool, like a treadmill or a cycle, or recently I personally bought a rowing machine because that helps me. 5 minutes. If I could take a 5-minute break and do a bit of rowing machine, that can help me. If I could walk around, that can help me. Learning how to be more physically active, because that helps not only in terms of weight loss, but the more we engage in physical activity, the actually more happy we feel about ourselves because our blood is starting to circulate. But if we're not, we tend to become more lazier. But the more we move, the happier we feel about ourselves, and we see always positive results. Exercise, physical activity always leads to good results. But remember to see what is your ability, what can you do, what can you not do. Work on slow progress. Start small and grow tall. So work on it. If you find yourself that you're struggling, let's say I used to jog, a kilometer or half a kilometer, but now I'm struggling to do so. Sometimes we slip. Learn to bring it back up again, slowly and gently. And then now we look at our diet and nutrition. We're eating a lot of food that we shouldn't be eating. Unfortunately, we're all to blame for this. And that is because we live at a very fast-paced life where we eat a lot of not only fast food, but we want that instantaneous food. Wherever we are in the world, we can order it and it's in our doorstep. So a way to help ourselves here is, if you're going to order, try to eat as healthy as possible. Try to be more aware of what you're eating. What time are you eating? How many times in a day are you eating? Are you snacking a lot? Are your meals very heavy? What is in your meals? Be mindful of these things. If you can learn to cook, that might be helpful. There's loads of videos on YouTube that can teach you to cook so many things. YouTube is an encyclopedia. It's a massive library. It's the largest library online. There's so many things that you can learn. You can learn from anything that you would like. Just do a bit of research, look at Pinterest, do a bit of Googling, and find out maybe what are the things that you would like to eat that's healthy. Healthy meal recipes, healthy breakfasts, healthy lunches, and healthy dinners, as well as healthy snacks. So look into that. Build into your routine, into your diet, things that you enjoy, but that are healthy as much as possible. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy yourself sometimes, but it's finding that balance, because food can have an impact on your mood. So when you're having a lot of junk, so junk food can really turn your system into junk, and emotionally can make you feel a bit junk. But what it is that if you switch it slowly and gently, that replacement, you'll see definitely positive results. So add a bit more green to your food and you'll notice you feel a lot more happier and less stressful, less anxious, and hopefully less low in mood. So we need to work on that bit by bit. Let's now move on to another thing about self-care, relaxation. Do I mean that we need to take moments where we do a bit of all these Zen type of exercises? What I mean here is relaxation is of many types. Relaxation is not just whether it be a relaxation exercise or meditation. Relaxation can even be by resting. Relaxation can be, some people consider washing the dishes relaxing. Some people consider swimming relaxing. Some people consider walking relaxing. Some people consider anything apart from just meditating or other relaxation exercises. There's so many different things that you can find relaxing. But yes, do learn a particular relaxation technique, something that is short and that will allow you to feel more relaxed and more better about yourself. But it helps to relax, because when you are, how can this transform your mental health? Because we are living again in this sort of fast-paced life, especially if you're someone who easily gets stressed, you're all over the place. Take a moment. One way to relax is to learn to be more present and to learn certain grounding techniques that can help you feel more relaxed. There are different box breathing sort of techniques. You've got the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've got the, if I'm not mistaken, the 4, 7, 8. You've got all these different, breathing techniques. Learn them, see what suits you best to calm yourself whenever you're going through a very stressful or anxious time, because this will help you really ground yourself to the present moment and to calm your nerves. Let's move on to getting back on track. It's important that when we're getting back on track, let's start slowly. You find yourself that you're not doing the same things that you used to do before, or you're doing them, but you're doing them less. I used to jog, let's say a person says, I used to jog 5 times a week, but now I'm only doing it twice. So I've reduced. I used to do this activity, 3, 4 times a week, but I'm not going to the gym as much, or I'm not doing the things I enjoy as much as I used to. What's happening? What's going on? How do I get back? Slowly and gently. Let's start from scratch. Think about this. What can you do right now? So if you're going to say, look, I'm going to, I was working with someone the other day and we were talking about, or he mentioned to me, for example, he mentioned that he wanted to get back to football, for example. And, he found it a bit difficult just building up that motivation, no one to play with. So he thought, you know what? I'm just going to start kicking ball at my backyard. All right, then. Now, I want you to pay attention to something. When you set a goal, think about the following. Is it doable? Number 1. Are there any challenges? Do you think there's anything that's going to be a barrier? Is there anything challenging, anything that's going to stop you from achieving that goal? I'm going to, let's say, kick ball in my backyard for about maybe once or twice a week. I'll start there, once or twice a week. And you can split them whatever way. You can either consecutively or you can split the days, whichever way. So you need to think about, is it doable? Are there any barriers? And also, once you've looked at that and you feel like, all right, maybe there are barriers, this is how I can overcome those barriers, or I don't see any barriers at all, I think I can do this, fine. How motivated out of 10 do you feel that you can do this? It's important to think about how motivated do you feel. Out of 10, 10 being the highest. Where are you in that motivation sort of like meter, and work on that. Wherever you put yourself, what can you do? What would help to make it higher? So for example, if you were to say, I feel that I'm 6 out of 10, that I could kick ball twice a week in my backyard. All right, 6 out of 10. What would make it a 7? Think about what would make it a 7 or an 8. Only even 8. Let's say, what would make it a 7? To get it closer. Is there something missing? What would help? So it's something for you to reflect on, to build that motivation. Remember, there's nothing wrong with starting from zero. Sometimes we rise up and we fall. Our health, sometimes we have really good health, but then sometimes we fall ill. We might have to go to the hospital. We might have to be admitted, or we might feel very, very exhausted and drained by the illness that we have. Sometimes it weakens us, but we can slowly recover and build that motivation and get back to doing the things that we enjoy. Start slowly. You climb up the ladder. There's nothing wrong with starting from the bottom. We all feel really, really frustrated that we have to start from scratch, but it teaches us lessons in life so that we can learn from our mistakes, and then we can slowly pick up the pace and climb up. We climb up slowly, climb up the ladder. Start with the easiest, then the medium, and then up to the hardest. You build the comfort and you build the momentum, but also you build confidence, just like a person climbing up a ladder or climbing up a mountain. And remember, learn to stick with the plan and not the mood. It's not sometimes, all the time, our mood will get in the way. Our mood will always get in the way. It will get in the way because that's just how we are. It's how we were created and designed. Our mood will interfere with our plans. You made a plan that you're going to go visit a friend tomorrow. You're going to meet up someone at a cafe or a restaurant. You haven't seen them in a while, or you haven't seen them in the last, let's say, month or two. Now, here's the thing. Suddenly something happens and you're like, you know what? Can't be asked, can't be bothered. I'm just going to cancel it. What can you do to learn to stop canceling plans and just stick to what you've got to do? It's not necessarily forcing yourself, but it is pulling yourself out of that comfort zone and actually sticking to what you've planned, sticking to exactly what you're meant to be doing, which is getting out, going and socializing and doing the things that you want to do, or doing the things that you plan to do. What helps here is to learn to stick to it and to tell yourself, you've got an option. Look, you can either go back, you can either cancel it and, there you are, you haven't really made a change, or you can tell yourself, look, I understand, be aware, it's fine. If you do feel very low, or for whatever reason, let's say you fell sick, okay, that's understandable. But it's learning to pull yourself out and say, I've got to get this sorted. Learn slowly and gently to learn to stop canceling plans. Get in there. Always tell yourself, let me stick to my plan, not the mood. Remember what I'm about to tell you. Stick to the plan and not the mood. That should be a t-shirt, honestly. Stick to the plan and not the mood. Because your mood, it will tell you anything. But if you stick to the plan, eventually your mood will follow. And not only that, you might feel that sense of discomfort, but you'll feel a lot better about yourself. Rather, you feel proud of yourself that you stuck to the plan. And then I want you to think about the things that you do. Find a balance. By the way, about a year ago, around this time, August, I created a journal, which I'm going to link in the description below. A journal that has benefited people across 3 areas of the world, 3 continents. North America, so I'm talking about the United States of America, USA, Canada, the UK, and in the Middle East. And it has really brought a significant impact on their lives. It's amazing. It's called the Progress Journal, a 30-day guided journal towards progress and clarity. It's amazing. And I want you guys to benefit from it. And one thing I teach there is finding a daily balance of 3 things. A daily balance of 3 things. RNP. What are your routine? Balancing your routine, balancing a necessary, and balancing a pleasurable task or activity. On many occasions, you're going to find there could be an activity or a task that can overlap all. It could be a routine that you might consider. It could be a necessary that you might consider it to be, as well as a pleasurable perhaps. But what it is that every day, if you could think of one of each, it doesn't have to be the same thing every day. It could change. It could differ every single day. But it's one of each so that you have one. If I've got one of each, you've got a perfect balance. If you want more, that's fine, but it's important and crucial that you learn to find a balance of the routine stuff that you do, like chores, stuff you do on a day-to-day, as well as the things you consider pleasurable, and also the important stuff. What's necessary for that day? What's important? What's essential? What is something pleasurable you'd like to do today? What is a routine that you'd like to do? You might have more, but what's the most important one out of all of them that you can select? There's another version called ACE, by the way. And ACE stands for ACE, Achievement, Connection, and Enjoyment. So it's a bit similar, but the thing A is achievement in terms of the things that you achieve. Connection are the people you connect with, and finally, enjoyment are the things that you enjoy. So they're a bit similar. And thinking about these activities, I'd really like to emphasize on something. What are your values? These activities, what I'd like you to do is write down all these different activities that you have. For each of them, what is it about them that you value the most? What do you value out of them? What do you gain from them? What do they mean to you? What did you used to do before that was so meaningful? Or what is it that you do now that's meaningful? And what would you like to do that you consider to be purposeful? What brings you purpose? What brings you that meaning and that fulfillment? Think about your values. Think about them and think about how you want to work on them. By the way, just to let you know, working on these 3 areas and slowly and gradually, you will find a significant change in your mental health, in your well-being. And I've got something for all of you. I'd like you to have a look, and I'm going to leave the description below. I'd like you to have a look at my free guide. Okay, I've got a free guide on 6 strategies on how to manage stress using CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, completely for free. And if you'd like as well, I'm also going to mention this and add this in the description below, and that is a free 10-day challenge for you to make progress and to find mental clarity in the space of 10 days. And this is an extraction taken from my journal, the Progress Journal. So a 10-day challenge. Both are going to be in the link, or 2 links in the description below, just for you to have. And if you've got more questions, do not hesitate to ask me. In the actual, you'll find in both, you'll find my email. You can contact me. You can get, in touch if you'd like. Please comment if you have any questions or if you'd like to know more. And the idea of the sample is to give you an idea and a feel of what the journal is like. The full journal is also available on Amazon. You can get the physical copy on Amazon and the digital copy as well. You can get that on Gumroad, mentioned in the description below. And finally, please don't forget to do me a favor in liking and subscribing to this channel, like the video, so that it can be shared, so that everybody else can see it and everybody else can view it. And as we say, share the barakah, which means share the blessings and share all these different benefits. I want to thank you for your time, for watching the video up until this point. And if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate, put it on the comments below. And I look forward to hearing from you more videos to come.